Good morning. How are you? It's cold, but it's not raining, although it's supposed to. And there's snow to the northeast of where I am in Northern Virginia. Uh, I've been looking back at the fact that my wife and I are hermits in the Lovettsville area in Northern Virginia. And it is because of our respect for the pandemic. But let's reach out and look at how it's affected people that you know. For instance, I would file 3 or 4 stories every week with a newspaper called the Brunswick Citizen. They actually paid me, not enough to replace my day job. But I consider them happy stories, kind of an antidote to what I deal with in the normal practice of law or what I see in politics. And so we do profiles of people. Well, what the pandemic did is it made it impossible to interview people. And so the paper closed down. And they may go electronic, but right now they think not. And they had no presence on the internet, really, except for Facebook. There was an old print newspaper, and they'd occasionally publish old stories. So that's one example of a business being shut down that had been run by father and then daughter, people who loved the ink and writing, and gave me an outlet and a small sum for my efforts. Now, one of the stories I covered for the newspaper, and there'd be these annual happy stories, was who had the greatest decorations for Christmas or the holiday season this time of year. And I'd go around and I'd take pictures, and there was a couple that won several years in succession. They put a lot of effort into it. And they're both on in years, but they had the cleanest, most ordered house maybe I've been in. So the husband, his mom was in hospice up in the Northeast. And so he went to visit her. And he did all the precautions just as he had at home. And when he was there, she was having hospice at home. And so the nurse would visit there. But what happened was the nurse had the virus. And she transmitted it to this gentleman's mom. And she died. This is only days ago. And he came back, and he has the virus. I don't know how he's doing. It's too early. It's only days old. But these are the stories that are multiplying across America. That one person or another who has suffered because of the pandemic, lost an elder parent. And life is about adaptability, but when you do everything you can yourself and something like this happens, you have to point to those who take lightly their responsibility to others, if not to themselves. Now, let's talk in the congressional section of this issue. Congress is trying to hammer out a $900 billion bill. Now, Congress, the House, proposed a $3 trillion bill, which would have done a lot more, as you'd expect, particularly with local governments, but also businesses. We're talking Main Street, not Wall Street. We're talking people who are hungry out of losing their homes, losing their jobs, all of the above. So it's become kind of a Dickens-like tale that if there was enough room in the news, instead of the sensational stories, we would be having story after story, like my vignette, of people suffering and seeing them, and we would be caring about them. So what kind of heartless sons of bitches are the Republicans that they don't care about this? And I'll talk about that in a moment. The Democrats are saying we're taking this smaller bill, and I understand that. And they're hoping that they'll be able to add on to it in the next administration when Biden is in office. But that will be problematic if we don't do well in Georgia. Now, today is Circus Day in Georgia. So this is Saturday when I'm talking to you on my walk and talk, because no less than Trump is going down there. And his message is the most bizarre political message, which is basically saying the system is not fair, stay home and don't vote, which favors us Democrats who want to replace the two Republicans and give the control of the Senate in a very marginal way to Biden, so maybe he can pass these bills. So if there's a, sunshine in this overcast day, it is that Trump is going to go down and sell this bizarre message to the people. Footnote on the bill that they would propose, the stopgap measure, if you will, the $900 billion bill. Trump wants there to be in that bill a protection for employers against being sued for perhaps misconduct, not taking care of their workers, so that they get the virus. Well, that's just wrong. It's a very plantation idea. And how did the Republicans in my own lifetime go from Nixon, who did favor a variety of programs that were, quote, public works, public benefit programs, to this Republican Party that instead of trying to widen its tent and bring people in, it tries to narrow the vote, to suppress the vote, to gerrymander districts, to use lawsuits and flat-out crimes in order to succeed themselves. That's not the Republican Party I knew when I was appointed by some Republicans early in my career. And when we had differences, they were heatedly fought, but respectfully decided. Not always, but most of the time. We're in a different place now. This is the party of Trump, but the seeds of this party were planted by Republicans who are racist and bigots and didn't care about people and only about the dirty buck. And that's the kind of candidates we got down there in Georgia that we hope to unseat. So let's see how that works out. January the 5th, we won't know until then. Get out, it's chilly, have a good day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.